Bourbon, Broncos, and no BS.
Championship game.
Welcome to Game Day Broncos Country. This is the live tailgate talk show. My name is 𝐁𝐫𝐶. You're stuck here with me tonight, but that's okay. We're going to have a great time breaking down all the last minute information and news to get you guys ready for tonight's game. Do me a favor, hit that share button, hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed and following us in all the different places so you can stay up to date with all of our content and everything we have coming at you. Also, don't forget to visit our website, broncosandbourbon.com. One-stop shop for all of your Bourbon Broncos No BS content, to include the game day chat, which is open live right now. Have all the schedule information. We have the stats from previous games, full roster breakdowns, information on each player, all that cool stuff. Make sure you go visit broncosandbourbon.com. Gary, how you doing? The grilled cheese is cooking. Yes, sir, it is. We are going to be grilling some cheese tonight. It's going to be freaking delicious. Sorry to see all those cheese heads melting by the end of the game. Big news. Obviously, we have been tracking all week, and we have been waiting literally 216 days for this moment. Bo Nix making his comeback. It is preseason, but it's going to be amazing to see him out there on the field with the team, throwing the ball, making some plays. We're going to see what happens. Obviously, very contained, very vanilla, but he'll be doing what he does, and it's going to be fantastic to see. We're going to talk about what we are expecting from Bo Nix. We're also going to be talking about what to expect and what to look for from some of these other players, and maybe things we're not going to see from other players simply because they're not going to be playing during tonight's game or really the entire preseason. So we're going to have to break that down. Mike in the house. Good to see you, buddy, as always. So let's talk about Bo Nix first, guys. As you're all getting in here, hitting that share button for me again would be a huge appreciation. Bo Nix, as reported by Sean Payton, is going to be getting about 14 snaps, maybe 15, obviously. I think it maybe, you could say 2 full drives, but we'll have to wait and see how those drives look. If it comes out, these drives look sloppy, maybe rusty, lots of miscommunication, you might see even more than that. But if Bo Nix goes out there like we're kind of expecting, I know I'm expecting, for him to kind of just fit into, pick up where he left off, if not, looking even better than that. I think what you're going to expect to see from Bo Nix is just, again, those 14 to 15 reps, and then good night. Thanks for, warming up, and it's time to get Stidham out there, right? We do not want to risk Bo Nix any more than we absolutely have to. But that is one thing that we're going to have to wait to see exactly what that looks like, right? If we see a rusty Bo Nix out there, as both David and Spotty talked about on the pregame podcast, which if you missed this week's, don't worry. Every single week we got that pregame podcast up on iTunes, Spotify, Google, and Stitcher, wherever you listen to your podcast. But as they were talking about it over there, if you see a very rusty, kind of uncoordinated, out of place Bo Nix, it's going to have to be a discussion of what is that going to look like come week 1 against the Chiefs? Does that mean Bo Nix is going to get playing time next week? Because again, we look at the first 6 weeks of the schedule here, and it's not conducive for any time to have these guys kind of ramp up, get used to it, take your time. It's full throttle right off the very get-go. So these guys have got to come out swinging. And tonight is just another test to make sure that they're ready and getting going. Jacob in the house. Jacob, good to see you, man, as always. Let's see. Join us. Yes, Bourbon or broncosandbourbon.com or Bourbon and Broncos. Either way, it'll take you to the same website, and it's ours, and it's fantastic. So make sure you guys go check that out. $1 lifetime access. You'll never have to pay for another thing on that website again. So go check it out. See all the different stuff that we have for you guys. But a great source of game day information, post-game information, all the information of where our shows are, the latest episodes, the articles, all that kind of stuff. And don't forget about our gift shop as well. But yeah, make sure you go check that out. Blizzard Husky, how you doing? How's it going? The packing will be ripped off the Packers tonight. Yes, it sure will be. I don't think this isn't a Packers show by any means. I don't have time to sit down and follow all the in and outs of other teams such as the Green Bay Packers. But there have been concerns about the Packers, especially offensively, maybe taking a step back compared to how they were last year. Jordan Love, it does sound, is going to get some playing time tonight, which will be really interesting to see how our defense matches up against their offense in the first, quarter and half of the game before those starters start slowly cycling out and the twos start getting out there as well. But the Bo Nix story is the biggest one for Broncos country because, it's been such a long offseason of just wondering and waiting, and we get good news and we get bad news and we get no news and we get conflicting news, right? You all go back to remembering how they said Bo Nix would be ready to do some of these OTAs and other things, and then he wasn't, right? And then he needed a second surgery, and that was never reported as needing to have happen, but it did. And so it's like, well, what is that going to do to the timeline? But by the time we got to training camp and we all saw with our own eyes and heard the reports and saw the clips, Bo Nix has looked really, really good. And one little story out of there. First off, Anthony, good to see you as always. Yeah, same here, Blizzard. Born and raised here in Colorado, myself, and a lifelong Broncos fan as well, even through the bad years, as we've been doing this podcast now for 11 years. So we have definitely stuck through the quarterback carousel and all the fun that we've had between Peyton Manning and where we are now eras. But here we are. Things are looking good. But Bo Nix looks really good. And one thing that it wasn't really widely reported on, but it definitely stood out to me as a mental kind of step that I'm seeing from Bo Nix. And in one of his post-game post-practice press conferences, he was talking about, in previous years, his first and second year, he kind of avoided throwing to Pat Surtain, right? And I think most quarterbacks in the league, as we see, avoid throwing to Pat Surtain for very obvious reasons. That's why Riley Moss on the other side, or White Boy Ricky, as they like to call him in the locker room, gets picked on so much because you avoid Pat Surtain. Well, Bo Nix had made the effort this year, he said, and the mental decision to throw the ball towards Pat Surtain and to try and get amp up his game, step up his game, try what he can do against literally one of the best in the league in Patrick Surtain. And really, we didn't hear anything come of that. There was no news. There was no clips or anything like that, obviously, until, was it yesterday or 2 days ago, where you heard about Bo Nix throwing to Jalen Waddle against Patrick Surtain and making it down the field for a 60-yard touchdown pass. Of course, it's practice. However, it is amazing to see that our guy Bo Nix, after coming off this ankle surgery, is stepping up and willing to take those chances and force himself to try and get better, right? Iron sharpens iron. If you're playing against Patrick Surtain, why not try to go out there and beat him? And it sounds like Bo Nix is having success. So if Bo Nix is able to look good and make things happen against somebody like Patrick Surtain, who Patrick is not a guy who's taking a step back this year, he's going to be just the guy that we expect him to be. That's just telling you that this guy that we have for our quarterback it's exactly where we want him to be for year 3, at least mentally going into this season. Let's catch up with the comments. Obviously, I'm riding solo tonight. Don't worry, guys. I got my friend Whiskey here. I'm not going to name any specific brands, but got my friend here helping me out. But I'm going to need your help with some comments and questions as well. So anything on your mind, anything you guys want to talk about, of course, this is your show. You could just hear whatever I want to talk about for the next 50 minutes, but more importantly, I care about hearing what you guys are hearing and thinking out in Broncos country. Okay. Michael, saw a report today about Pat Bryant really showing up at practice. Looked like a wide receiver 3. Also, Mr. Irrelevant, Red Murdoch, really making himself Mr. Relevant, you could say. Yeah, so let's break this down. First part here. Pat Bryant, if you look back several weeks ago, I called out this very thing in a video, and I predicted that Pat Bryant would be wide receiver 3. And dude, Mike, I think you're exactly spot on. Everything we've heard about Pat Bryant from training camp, everything that we saw in last week's preseason game, all the reports, all the clips, everything is looking like Pat Bryant is really forcing himself into that wide receiver 3 position, which is huge and amazing news for him, because remember, he only had 1 dropped pass last year. This is a guy who is incredibly consistent. The big concern for him, obviously, is the concussions that he had last year, those 2 concussions. How is that going to play into be a factor, if any? Hopefully it's not, but you're going to have to wonder, is he going to wear that Guardian cap on his helmet during the season, just because he has already had some of those issues? I don't remember off the top of my head. Maybe one of you all could help me look this up. If Pat Bryant last week wore the Guardian on his helmet, but we're going to have to wait to see if he wears it during the regular season. But this is, if he's able to stay healthy, this is a guy you can really start to you can continue to build your wide receiver core around. Courtland Sutton last week looked like prime Courtland Sutton, right? The one-handed grab, the near touchdown pass he caught right at the goal line there. Like, there's no concerns with Courtland Sutton, but you do have to wonder at what point will some of that productivity drop off, just because of age. And it's just, we're all human. We all get older and things break easier. Knock on wood. It takes longer to recover from things. So it's just something we have to watch for and wait to see what will that happen, or what will that look like, and who is the future of the Broncos wide receiver core. I think obviously Jalen Waddle, if he does everything that he's supposed to this year, like, that's a for sure deal. Pat Bryant then stepping in as well, kind of backing Waddle up, maybe even becoming that wide receiver 2 one day. Then you got this kind of battle, minute little battle, if you want to call it there, between Troy Franklin and Marvin Mims. Marvin Mims is looking to be either at the wide receiver 4 or wide receiver 5 spot. And you got to remember, this is a contract year for Marvin Mims. So it's not a position that any player wants to find themselves in, in a contract year. This is really setting up a situation where I think he could be and even request a trade, just to be on a team where he can have more playing time. But I think what you're going to see the Broncos and how they utilized him last year is maybe not going to be too different in keeping him safe for the special teams plays, the return game, and then really on the offensive side of the ball, not really utilizing him too much, especially when you have the speed guys like Troy Franklin out there that can help take off the top. And you also got to remember we have Evan Ingram. That's another story we can talk about later. But I do want to get to the second part of Mike's comment here. Mr. Irrelevant, Red Murdoch. Yeah, look, preseason, he's looking really, really good. But the question for Red Murdoch is he going to make the 53-man roster, or is he going to go onto the practice squad? And of course, to get on the practice squad, he has to clear waivers. The stronger he looks, it's more of a reason for the Broncos to try to retain him and just keep him on the Broncos by putting him on the 53-man roster. But most of the roster is already set. We brought back pretty much everyone from last year, with the exception of like John Franklin Myers is the big name that we lost, right? But for the most part, everyone's coming back. So there's not a lot of spaces, a lot of roster spots on this team for somebody like Red Murdoch to take up that space. And it also goes back to why I said from the very beginning, Von Miller was not going to come back to the Broncos, at least not until he's ready to retire as a Bronco. But the Red Murdoch thing is, he's definitely playing for a spot on the roster because, again, if we have to wait and hope that he clears the waiver process there before we can sign him to the practice squad, look, if he plays really good again tonight and plays again really well in the third preseason game next week, he may not clear waivers, guys. This is something you got to think about. We're all loving Red Murdoch. I'm loving Red Murdoch. I'm loving the talk. I'm loving the clips. I'm loving everything we're seeing from him. But if we just can't find a spot for him on the roster, is he even going to remain a Bronco after the 53-man roster is released and we're waiting to see them clear the waiver process there? So keep that in mind, right? So just in the back of your mind, there's a chance he might get picked up from another team because they see the value in him as well and they have spots for him on their roster. And I'm talking probably not a very good team either, right? So just, I want to throw that out there so that if it happens, we're not like, where did this come from? Why is this happening? Okay, let me try to catch up some of these comments here. Jose, always good to see you in the comments, man. Happy Friday, happy game day. Broncos taking on the Green Bay Packers here soon and going to be smoking them. They're going to be smoking them. Let's see if Bo Nix plays today, which he will. Be careful of that injury. Yep, so obviously you're not going to probably see any designed runs for Bo Nix. You're going to see him make sure that he gets rid of the football. He's not taking any unnecessary risks, right? So just temper your expectations. As much as we're excited to see him out there, it's not like he's going to be playing the same way as he will be in week 1 against the Kansas City Chiefs. That's the game you're going to see him really go full throttle and test out that ankle, running the ball, running around, being mobile, getting out of the pocket, those kinds of things. So wait to see, but yes, we have to be careful and just keep our fingers crossed that nothing weird happens there. Okay, as everyone's joining in and I'm reading off these comments again, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, guys. Make sure you're checking out our website, broncosandbourbon.com. Love to see everybody here and getting ready for the game. We're also going to be doing our score predictions here in the last 15 minutes of the show, and I'll explain that here in a little bit as well. So hold on to your score predictions because I want to see them all and break them all down in real time with you guys. Blizzard out from Grand Junction. Awesome, man. I'm from the Springs. Love the Colorado natives in here. Let's see. I expect the cheese to melt. Can't stand the heat. No. And Bo is fire. The Broncos are fire. You got to imagine that they're maybe a little have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, right? I think they feel just as much as we do in Broncos country that they kind of earned, a spot in the Super Bowl. Had it not been for that injury. Had it not even been for that second half blizzard in the AFC Championship game last year that kind of derailed everything for both teams, but especially the Broncos with Stidham stepping in, right? Like it was just a bad day for Broncos country. But I think they want to show that they're not frauds. They heard all the talk last year. They heard all the same things that we've heard as Broncos fans. Oh, they're frauds, blah, blah, blah. They want to avoid that. They want to earn their spot back in the playoffs. They want to earn their spot back as the number 1 seed. They want to earn their way back into the Super Bowl. And I'm here telling you, I called it back in March, and I'm sticking to it. Fellas, make sure your wives, girlfriends, fiancés, whoever knows that you are going to be busy on February 14th watching the Broncos in the Super Bowl. So make sure you make plans for Valentine's Day on February 13th. Okay. More comments. I love it, guys. Thanks for joining in. Jacob says, hopefully we get Bo airing out a go route. I would not be surprised to see at least one play like that tonight. Just again, let him get that feel, right? You're not going to see that on every single of the 14 snaps that Bo is out there for, but you're probably going to see at least one. And who he throws to, who knows? Is it going to be Troy Franklin? Is it going to be Pat Bryant? No Jalen Waddle tonight. They haven't said that officially, but I'm expecting no Jalen Waddle just because he only started practicing again this last week. And after coming off that soft tissue injury, it's not worth throwing him out there in a preseason game. We know what Jalen Waddle can do. If you forget what Jalen Waddle can do, go back to the Broncos' big Miami loss from a couple years ago and just look at the Waddle highlights from that game. That's the type of player we're getting. We don't need to see it in the preseason. So no Jalen Waddle tonight is my expectation. But once that happens in week 1 and he does come out there against the Chiefs, you better be ready. You better be ready. That's going to be a fun pregame podcast as they talk about the Chiefs secondary against against Mims, against Cortland Sutton, against Waddle, against Evan Ingram, right? Like we got weapons, and we got the weapon of Bo Nix who can throw to the guy. We got the offensive line, one of the best, if not the best offensive line in the league. Like this offense on paper should be absolutely fire this year. Not to even, I didn't even mention the running backs. So absolutely love the comment there, Jacob. Jose is the man. Everybody in here is the man or the woman, whoever you are. Thank you for tuning in. Sean, yes, we have got him. I was waiting for you to talk about him. Our guy, Mitch Fabronis. I think, again, after what we saw last week on special teams, Mitch Fabronis, the long snapper, if you guys don't know, has secured his spot on the roster. And There's no question about that. Look, it's good to kind of know who a backup long snapper is if you need to go sign him off the streets or something like that. But Mitch Fraboni is one of the most solid players on the Broncos. Very consistent, and love to see you here in the comments, Sean. Yep, Gary smells it too. We're all smelling it. We are all smelling it. It is kind of greasy, but I'll just say Packers fans are kind of greasy. Anyway, Jacob, Perna sniff, bikes me. Look, let's be nice to Perna. Perna's awesome. Perna's been on our show. Perna helped us out at the very beginning of Bourbon, Broncos, and OBS when we started 11 years ago. Perna is fantastic. And the Grossy Perna podcast, I mean, I don't know how many times we've been rated by the Grossy guys. But I will say, yeah, Grossy, tonight, I'm not so much his friend, him being a Packers fan, but do appreciate everything that both Grossy and Perna have done for us over the years, even if it's indirectly and through the raids they do. It's always fantastic. So, hey, join us at halftime for our live halftime hash show. You never know when we get raided by those guys. It's always fantastic to see the comments just absolutely fill up with Grossy raid, Perna raid, all that stuff. So make sure you join us at halftime when we break down all the first half action. We're talking about what we saw from Bo Nix, what we saw from some of these other players, what we saw from the defense, and talk about what the team needs to do to secure the win in the second half. Of course, preseason doesn't matter, but we are always live for every single Broncos halftime. So make sure you tune in. Okay. Here's a good question. This is really good. And to be honest, Sean, do I see McLaughlin making this team? I don't know. If we do, it's going to be running back 4 and kind of be more of a special teams role. I just don't see where, look, you got J.K. Dobbins, you got RJ Harvey. Now you got Jonah Coleman. Jonah Coleman's looked really good. Be interesting to see if Jonah Coleman goes out with the ones, as they talked about on our pregame podcast as well. We're going to have to wait to see what that looks like. Hey, what does Jonah Coleman look against? And how does he look against another team's starting defense, right? And how does he look playing with our ones, maybe building some of that rapport between him and Bo Nix, and kind of getting some of that, because obviously RJ Harvey having that experience last year, especially after J.K. Dobbins went down. But the running back room is kind of, talent heavy as well. Like a lot of spots on this team are. And you got to wonder, is McLaughlin going to make the team? What about Tyler Bidet? Look, McLaughlin fumbled last week. And sorry, but when you're in a roster situation such as this, it's a good problem to have, but it is a problem of like who's going to actually make this team. I don't know if McLaughlin is going to, make the practice squad, or maybe he gets picked up again through the waiver process by another team as well. But it's going to be really interesting to see what McLaughlin does tonight. I'm sure he's going to get plenty of playing time in the second half. So can he make up for that fumble last week? If he has another mistake tonight, another fumble or something like that, I mean, knock on wood for, on his part. I don't know. So it's going to be a really, really big night for McLaughlin. And when he does get his name called, how is he going to respond? How is he going to bounce back from that performance last week? Look, it just, it's not like we have only 2 running backs and he's one of them. And it's like, well, we have no other better options. We have better options. So where is he going to fit into that roster? Dude, Sean, great question. We're just going to have to wait to see. And we will talk about it either at halftime if we see anything from him in the first half, or if not, we'll be talking about it on Monday night during our post-game podcast show, which is live at 8 p.m. Mountain Time on Monday night. That's every Monday night, unless the Broncos are playing a Monday night game like we are in week 1. So get ready for that. Okay, once again, make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. Yes, I will give you a wink. I'll even give you a special call out if I see that we get new followers on the website, people signing up. Again, the website, broncosandbourbon.com. $1 one time. You'll never have to pay for anything else on the website. That cost is going to jump up to $5 to sign up as soon as kickoff happens, week 1, Broncos versus Chiefs on Monday night. So this is the time to get in on it while it's dirt cheap, and get free access to everything on the website forever. Whatever new things we roll out, any upgrades, new features, all that stuff, you will never have to pay again. Also, signing up on the website gets you access to the discount code on our merch shop, so you can buy something from there, and it just pays for itself instantly. Absolutely instantly. Okay, Jose, says, let me grab a drink because this is a lot of talking. All right. Jose says, Bo Nix is going to be on the field. You better do everything on the field today. But I've been here broken the news a couple days ago. Von Miller. Look, Von Miller, again, don't be upset at Von Miller. Von Miller wants to play football. I get what you're saying, Jose, and it is kind of gross to think about Von on the Cowboys, but it's also kind of gross to think about Von on any team, right? It was happy to see him win a Super Bowl with the Rams, but it was weird. It was just even more weird to see him with the Commanders. Now it's even weirder seeing him with the Dallas Cowboys. I do foresee the Cowboys being his last stop before he retires from the NFL. And as we talked about on the Tuesday show, Von Miller still has a lot of drama. And I'm not taking anything away or discounting anything he did for the Broncos while he was here with us. Being the Super Bowl 50 MVP, huge. Everything he did against Cam Newton, shutting him down, keeping Cam Newton from doing the dab and dancing in the end zone. Look, that dude's phenomenal. Von Miller will come back to Denver. He will sign a contract with Denver. It will be a one-day contract for him to retire as a Bronco. There's no space for him on this team. Sean Payton is not going to sign a player to his team just for the fans to have a nostalgic reunion, right? There's too many players, too much talent, too many good things going on. Having a space for somebody like Von Miller just does not make sense for us. For the Dallas Cowboys, it makes sense because if you just look back and remember the game last year, like the one game that the Broncos absolutely demolished a team was against the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys have a good offense, but they had serious defense troubles. And so bringing on a guy like Von Miller with the veteran experience, the championship experience, that's a guy that they're looking to bring in to hopefully bolster their defense. Our defense does not need bolstering. It just doesn't, right? So I see the frustration, Jose. I agree with some of it. However, I never expected Von Miller to come back to be a Bronco. And we can just sit here and say, hey, at least he didn't sign with the Raiders, right? At least he didn't sign with the Chiefs. That would have been so much worse. So he's not even in our conference. We're not even playing him this year. Again, 1 to 2 years with the Dallas Cowboys. I see him then retiring and coming back to Denver after that as a Bronco for life. So let's just hope that everything goes well for Von, except for winning a Super Bowl, because it's the Cowboys and they're not going to do that as long as somebody with the last name Jones owns the team. But he gets to continue to play the game, and that's what's really important to him right now. Okay, moving on. Andrew, prediction, Barron gets a pick tonight. 𝐁𝐫 Barron, dude, this is a guy that obviously being the first round pick from last year, not this year, but 2 drafts ago, we would be hoping that he would have a really big and consistent impact on this team, but it's nothing that he's doing wrong, right? It's not like 𝐁𝐫 Barron isn't stepping up. It's just 𝐁𝐫 Barron has so much competition, especially with the way McMillan played last year. McMillan just absolutely balled out last year and showed that he's deserving of that spot. And so it's one of those things where if McMillan goes out there this year and doesn't perform, at least we have a guy like 𝐁𝐫 Barron who can step into that role right away and probably pick up the slack, right? So there's a lot of pressure on McMillan to continue to do what he was doing. But that's bad news for 𝐁𝐫 Barron, because 𝐁𝐫 Barron, obviously, rightfully so, wants to get out on the field himself. And make some plays and make a name for himself and show why he was was a first round draft pick. But again, look, Broncos country, this is a really good problem to have. It's not a fun problem, but it is something we have to deal with. And the fact of the matter is we have so much talent that tough decisions are going to have to be made. And when we start breaking down the 53-man roster predictions and talking about who might be some surprise cuts, McLaughlin might be a name, right? Obviously, 𝐁𝐫 Barron is not a name to be on that, but maybe Red Murdoch is the name of somebody who gets cut, simply because we have the guys already. We have the team for like 95% of the team is set going into this preseason. There's only a few roster spots left for these guys, but man, if this prediction comes true, Andrew, and 𝐁𝐫 Barron gets another interception tonight, let alone a pick six like last week. Dude, like between McMillan and Jahdae Barron, we got a win-win situation here. One of those two guys are going to step up, and we got some really solid depth there. All right. Roy, good to see you here, man. Happy Broncos game day to you as well, sir. It's always good to see you in the comments. The Springs, okay, Air Academy High School. I know where that is because I went to the Air Force Academy. So badass. The K-Dets, yes, sir. I love it, man. I think actually Ayla went to that high school as well. So just a little fun fact. Gary, the Blizzard was one of the skid mark on the Blizzard was the one skid mark in a boxer season. I'm missing the reference there. So explain that to me. I'm also thinking of 20 things at the same time. Jose, the Broncos want to reach the Super Bowl, AFC West 1 seed this year, 21-2 if we keep winning. Whew, man, it'd be absolutely amazing. Let's see. And obviously the shot to win it all. Look, I don't know if Bo Nix is even going to be considered for an MVP. Like this is just talk, right? Because it's preseason game. We don't have actual matchups to talk about because we don't know what starters of Green Bay are going to be playing at what point during the game. It's all that stuff. But look, there's just a lot of Bo Nix hate out there because people are too proud to admit when they were wrong. All these people, all these talking heads, all these journalists that initially said that the Bo Nix pick was one of the worst things the Broncos could have done, that Bo Nix is a terrible quarterback. He's not going to succeed in this league in any way, shape, or form. And now they're just too proud. It doesn't matter what Bo Nix does. He could have a Peyton Manning type of just phenomenal year, and they would still probably be trying to find anyone else but Bo Nix to name the MVP because they don't want to backtrack and say we were wrong about this guy. So we'll see. That's going to be an end of the year conversation. I don't think the Broncos care about, like, it's not that the Broncos don't care about Von Miller, but it's not like the Broncos are like, oh, we couldn't sign him. Oh, darn. Like Von was actively trying to get the Broncos to sign him. All right. And we were just like, no, dude, like there's no space for you here. So look, it's the last time I'm going to talk about Von Miller tonight, guys. Von Miller is with the Cowboys. We're moving on. He's moving on. Von Miller will come back to Denver. I promise you. It's just not this year. It may be next year. It may be the year after that. He will retire as a Bronco and be a Bronco for life. We love Von Miller, but Von is not coming to the Broncos to play. He is not getting a roster spot. Okay. We're done talking about Von Miller. Love the comment though, Jose. Sean, I've always rooted for him, but man, we're getting deep in the running back room. Yeah, dude, it's a good thing to have. Right. And just J.K. Dobbins healthy. He's a beast on his own. RJ Harvey did a pretty decent job in his rookie year, stepping up to fill the gap that J.K. Dobbins left when he went down. But RJ Harvey's coming into his second year. And so now we have Jonah Coleman stepping up to that third position. And it's going to be really interesting to see how they utilize these three very, very talented running backs. It's not something where you have to have J.K. Dobbins out there, for the vast majority of these snaps. They're going to be cycling them out. They're going to try to protect J.K. and get Jonah Coleman more experience, get RJ Harvey more experience, and really utilize them and their strengths as well. And so it's just, again, this is a problem for opposing defenses, right? When they're trying to break down the Broncos and study what the weaknesses are and how to exploit players, like they have three different running backs that they have to really pay attention to. It's not like, oh, they have just one running back that we get to study all week, right? They have these three different guys that they have to pay attention to. And then they have the wide receiver core, which for the Broncos is also very deep. And then they have the tight end room with Justin Jolie and Evan Ingram and Andrew, probably what will be Andrew Troutman being the third tight end for the Broncos. These are guys that there's a lot that these teams are, and it's going to be overwhelming for these teams to try to study and remember all the, if you have an entire week to focus on one player, yeah, you could probably get very deep in the weeds of how to exploit them. But when you have three, now you have to split that time up three ways. And it's just, dude, that's an advantage for the Broncos in a big, significant way. So I love the fact that it's a deep running back room. McLaughlin is not loving the fact that it's a deep running back room, and he's looking at maybe being the running back 4 if they even decide to keep 4 running backs on the roster. He could very well be pushed down to the practice squad. Tyler Bidet could be the one they signed to the practice squad, and they decide to let McLaughlin go. But again, that fumble last week for McLaughlin was not good in his case. Yeah, he looked good before he fumbled, but that's the problem with this is you ignore the good when there's just something in the preseason when it's these little things that matter, right? Again, if we only had 2 running backs or just one solid running back, you'd be like, okay, 1 fumble, whatever, it's not a big deal. But when you're trying to force your way onto the team, a single fumble could make the difference when you're looking at these other players saying, well, the other players didn't fumble. Right. So I don't know. Obviously, I'm not the one making the decisions, but you're going to have to wait to see. Just like I will have to wait to see as well. Okay, let's keep it up, guys. We are past halftime here on the show. We're about 25 minutes away from kickoff, but so let's just take a quick moment, get through all the announcements, and then we'll get back to the action on your comments. First off, guys, this show, the Tailgate Talk, we are live 1 hour before kickoff for every single Broncos game. We are also live at halftime called the Halftime Hash Show. We are the original podcast to do a halftime show, at least when Facebook Live was new 11 years ago. No one else was going live at halftime. We started that trend, and I'm going to go to the grave claiming that is our thing. We started it. Everyone else got the idea from us, either directly or indirectly, but we were live every halftime, breaking down the first half of the action. Also, the post-game podcast is live every single Monday night at 8 p.m. Mountain Time, except for when the Broncos play a Monday night game. But you can count on us being live Monday nights to break down the previous game, talk about the action, and just kind of focus on what happened and take it all in, being a day or so removed from the action. Tuesday night is our flagship show of Bourbon, Broncos, and No BS. That has been going live at 7 p.m. Mountain Time for 11 straight years. That is the show that we started with. We set the time. Jared and I, back 11 years ago now, saying we're going to go live Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, and we've done that on Tuesdays ever since then. The past couple of years, we've done it through the off season as well. And so this is kind of a year-round thing now. Every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, we are live. Make sure you're following us on your podcast platforms, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, whatever you listen to your podcasts on. We are there. Search at Bourbon Broncos No BS. If you also just want another easy way to find us in the podcast locations, go to the website, broncosandbourbon.com. You can find the latest podcast there as well. But the pregame podcast is the podcast only. There's no live show or anything associated with that. But to get all the in-depth X's and O's breakdown from David and usually Spotty, or David and Jared and Spotty, once Jared comes back here, hopefully in a couple months, they do a great job. They have some fantastic football IQs over there with those three. The X's and O's knowledge is fantastic, and they really get in the weeds of breaking down the different matchups and what to expect, to see in that upcoming game. So get ready for the game by listening to that. And then again, of course, game day. We're live 1 hour before kickoff, like I said, and at halftime, and that's our full lineup. We also got articles on the website that are going to be picking up more as the season gets closer to starting here. We got one in the works right now, so get ready for that. And yeah, again, the website, broncosandbourbon.com. Why have you not visited that yet? Like, seriously, you're watching the show. Appreciate you watching the show. It's awesome. Go get more Broncos content at broncosandbourbon.com. It's basically like ESPN built specifically for Broncos fans. So go check that out. Okay. Andrew, I'm not saying his name again. I'm not doing it, man. Sean, we had a chance to get him back and clearly didn't want him to. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. He had a pick last week. Are you talking about an interception we threw? Or 𝐁𝐫𝐴𝐴𝐻 Barron? 𝐁𝐫𝐴𝐴𝐻 Barron had that interception, which was freaking phenomenal to see. Here's some breaking news. News to me anyway. Waddle is dressed and walking onto the field. If he's dressed, I'm guessing he's going to at least be out there a little bit, or maybe he's just going through the motions of like the pregame stuff. I don't know, but I don't see a guy like that spending the time getting dressed if he's not planning on being on the field for at least, a little bit of time. So, Roy, we're going to have to watch that. We could see some Bo Nix to Waddle action tonight get ready for it. I've been practicing my waddle all off season long. I'm stretched. I'm ready to go. As soon as a waddle touchdown happens, you better bet I'm jumping up out of my chair and doing the waddle. It's going to be fantastic. So we might see a little taste of that tonight. We're going to have to wait to see, but obviously do not want to push him too far coming off that injury. Keep him safe for week 1 and for the onslaught that will be the first 6 weeks of the season. Hate to say this, Kev, but NDSU is going to run the Mountain West. I can't. I have no faith in the Air Force Academy football team. We're just going to say that. It's not a football first school, and the years we do well are usually more of a surprise than anything else. Hey, we got a blank comment from Mike. I know what this means. Mike donated some stars to us over here at Bourbon, Broncos, and No BS. Definitely appreciate the support. Guys, do not feel like you have to donate to us, but if you do, I definitely appreciate it. It helps fund things like the website and all the other things we do. Also goes to I'm digging a fallout shelter in the backyard. And so I want to stock it up with all my extra Broncos things, obviously. So any donations you pay over here, going to go to the fallout shelter. That's going to be more of a Broncos bunker. And I don't know, I'm just making that up off the top of my head. But seriously, appreciate the donation of stars, Mike, and appreciate all of your support. Roy says if he does play, that's a different story. Yeah. So we're looking to see what Waddle does and how many plays they actually put him out there for. So, man, if you had no other reason to get excited for the game tonight, now you have an additional reason to get excited for the game tonight. This is definitely the one of the 3 preseason games that you're going to want to watch and follow. Be checking the game day chat over on the website. Again, we'll be live at halftime to break it down and see what we have from these guys. Sean, how have we talked about the undrafted kid we picked up from Texas A&M? You almost got me. I'm not talking about Mitch Fabroni for the rest of the night just because of you. You almost got me. Oh man, Andrew, keep waiting for on-field pregame coverage. Look, I keep asking the Broncos, hey, like let me down there. I'd love to, and then they keep saying like, no, just kidding. I haven't asked yet. Someday maybe that'd be fantastic. In the meantime, we'll be doing these live shows from our own homes, or when I do, like next week, when I go out to the game, probably be doing pregame coverage from the stadium, at least not on field, but in the stands and talking to fans and getting other people's inputs. So get excited for it. Cause when I'm there next week, it's going to be phenomenal. Okay. I thought my waddle was natural. That's a different kind of waddle, Mr. Mike. Different kind of waddle. Jacob says CSU. I would say if I had to pick a team other than the Air Force Academy, it would definitely it would be the Buffs. It'd be the Buffs. I'm not what's his name? Because I'm not even thinking I'm not a Sanders guy. I'm not a primetime guy. I don't care who the coach is over there. In fact, I think primetime probably needs to go. But again, and this is a Broncos podcast, so I'm going to stick to that subject. Andrew, yeah, I love the Broncos bunker. I will, you know what, Sean, I will give you mad props because that was an insanely good effort. Try and get me to say the name that I've already talked about way too much tonight. Okay, we are approaching the last 15 minutes of the show. So first off, as soon as the show ends, head over to broncosandbourbon.com, sign up. Quick sign up process, $1 one time, you're done, you're in, and you get free access to absolutely everything on the website to include the discount code for the merch shop, which I am always taking ideas. If you have ideas for something that you want us to make, a Broncos moment or a Broncos saying or a Broncos whatever, send us the idea. I'd be more than happy to at least try to make it. And if I do make it, put it up on the website, maybe even give you 50% off, as a idea, sending me the idea, give you 50% off that product. But definitely go check that out. But now it is time for score predictions. Now start sending your score predictions in. We're not doing the full score prediction challenge during the preseason, but What's going to happen during the regular season, starting week 1, is 15 minutes before kickoff, you have a chance to enter your score prediction officially. You get one score prediction entry. The first one you enter is the one that is going to count. If you get the score correct and you're guessing the Broncos to win, you can't bet the other team to win and get something for it. So you have to guess the Broncos to win, and you have to get the score correct. And if that happens, I think, Mike, it was you who is a field goal away, like 1 point away from getting that, a field goal away at the very end of the game, getting that correct. But we will get you a Broncos jersey of your choice. That is not happening tonight. That's not happening during preseason, but we will officially start that back on week 1. However, just for the fun of it, because these things don't count during preseason, let's hear your score predictions. Start posting them in the chat. We'll bring them up here as we start wrapping up the show here in just a few minutes. And I'll give you my score prediction as well. But get ready for the score prediction challenge, like I said, to open up week 1 against the Chiefs. And it's been several years since we've had a winner of the score prediction challenge. And I'm ready to give somebody a Broncos jersey. So make sure you come back to the show before the Chiefs game on week 1. The other cool thing about the week 1 game, guys, if you don't remember this from last year, we started a new tradition. We are doing a full game coverage once a month for one of the away games that take place that month, where we start 1 hour before kickoff. Instead of ending the show right before kickoff, we just stay live. We just stay live, and we comment and give our instant reactions and talk about what we're seeing during the game, watching it basically with you guys, and just having that fun interaction and sharing those instant reaction thoughts and wearing our emotions on our sleeve, because that's what fans do. Fans don't really get too analytical during the game. It's after the game. So just make sure you join us week 1, Broncos versus Chiefs. We start 1 hour before kickoff, and we are live throughout the entire Broncos game, ending with a quick post-game recap. And then, of course, that's going to, make up for no post-game actual show on that Monday night. But we will be talking about all the stuff during the game, Broncos versus Chiefs. Yeah, Mike says that freaking Raiders field goal. You were so close, man. The fact that was a game that we were live for as well, one of the 4 live games we covered last year. That was so great. I was like, we're going to get this live on air, get a jersey, and no. Okay. Let's go through some of these score predictions here. I like what I'm seeing so far. Sean with the first one here, 34-13 Broncos. I could definitely see that. I think, again, the Broncos defense just has so much depth that even with the Packers starters going out there, I think, they'll get some pity points, more or less. I think maybe most of the points are going to come in the second half, but the Broncos defense it looks like they're just picking up where they left off. They're absolutely dominant. They're all on the same page. Vance Joseph still being here. They know what to do. They know their assignments. They know the terminology. They know how to read, each other and opposing teams. This defense is ready to go. And I believe, especially with Bo Nix coming out today, especially if we see Jalen Waddle get some playing time today as well. Look, the Broncos putting up some points throughout the game, especially in that first, second drive when a lot of our starters are going to be out there, is going to be key. So 34-13 Broncos from Sean. Absolutely love it. Roy says 24-13 Broncos. I like that one as well. And look, let's do a little something different tonight as I'm going through these score predictions. If you get the score predictions right tonight, I'll send you something from the bourbonandbroncos.com merch store for free, your choice, whatever you want available from our merch store. So we'll do that instead of a Broncos jersey tonight. So again, you get one score prediction. The first one you enter is what it is. So Andrew, I'll let you. I'm gonna let you redo that one now that I'm throwing a prize on the table. I won't hold that one against you. But that would be a very interesting game. And the fact it's preseason, it would just be fun to watch, right? Like that would just be that would be news around the league. Mike says 27-21 Broncos. Anthony 27-13 Broncos. I see a trend here for the Packers. 13 score, and I think that's fair. Gary is the first one. He's breaking the again, because I'm not counting Andrews there. He's breaking the chain and saying the Packers are going to get a whole 14 points. but the Broncos 27. Either way, that's a pretty solid win. I love it. Andrew, nope. Here, just let me just maybe if you'll let me, and there, everyone can see it. It's there. Let's see if we're gonna do a live screen game. They're also gonna be watching on ABC, ESPN, September 14th. Yes, so it'll be obviously nationally televised game since it's Monday Night Football, but we will be we can't stream the game ourselves, like we can't show the game, but we will be watching it with you all live on air. Let's see, Roy, you better not be like pulling my leg now. You're getting my hopes up. More news on Waddle. He's going through some pretty game warm-ups and expected to play. So whoo-wee, I'm even more excited now than I was an hour ago, which I didn't think was possible for a preseason game. Jose, Green Bay Packers 21, Broncos 30. You had me worried there for a second, starting with the Packers, but Broncos 30, Packers 21. I don't think you're going to see 3 quarters from Bo Nix, simply because what Sean Payton has said with a 14 snap count limitation for Bo Nix. I think the only reason you're going to see more from Bo Nix is if the first 2 drives are yuck, right? If they're just bad. If they're bad, you might see a little bit more, but definitely I would say no later than halfway through the first quarter, no more Bo Nix tonight. So it's probably going to be even sooner than that. So, okay, redo for Andrew. 18-17 Broncos, close game. Okay, I'll hold you to that. Bottle of Breckenridge. If you get the score prediction correct, we'll talk. Get the score correct first, and then tell me you got it right, and we'll talk. I don't know, Roy. I don't know. You might just be like, hey, let's mess with Kev Dan, because other people are messing with Kev Dan. Yeah, I'm referring to myself in the third person. We got this new unsigned rookie with a very familiar name, at least sounding name, if it's not spelled the same. But anyway, let's go over my score prediction again. Like I said before, Broncos defense being absolutely dominant tonight, and the Packers are better than the Falcons, right? I think they're going to score more than 7 points, but I do think the Broncos are going to showcase that this is another year with pretty much all of them in place. Bo Nix's 3rd year. You also got all the positive things we saw from Davis Webb and the way he was calling the plays last week. It was very crisp. It was clean. The players are getting to the line of scrimmage with plenty of time left, right? So there looks like they've really, really tried to hammer out the communication and the player packages. You know, obviously watching on TV, you can't really tell what kind of player swap out there is in between plays. But if that continues to be the case where Davis Webb's play calling is very efficient, him and Bo Nix are very much on the same page. They minimize or cut down on the amount of players swapping out between plays. You're going to see them get to the line of scrimmage sooner. That's going to give Bo Nix more time to think and process, make the right call. If he needs to kill the call, switch to the secondary backup call or whatever, and run the right play. And that's what he needs. And I think he would have done so much better last year had he had more time consistently at the line of scrimmage. So big thing there. Okay, beautiful, Roy. I'm gonna take your word for it, man. I'm so excited for the Waddle thing. You're talking about something that's going to really take this offense to the next level, on top of Davis Webb, on top of Bo Nix's 3rd year, on top of seeing players like Jonah Coleman step up, Pat Bryant looking really good. Dude, Evan Ingram, and we didn't talk about Evan Ingram tonight. You know, don't forget that Evan Ingram and Davis Webb played football together in college. So these guys have a connection. They know each other. They know how each other works. And I think you're going to see a whole lot more opportunities for Evan Ingram this year. So, you know, interesting to see what we see from Jolie. But I think Evan Ingram is primed for having a really good year as well. And it's just like, I'd almost say don't draft anyone from the Broncos offense outside of Bo Nix himself, because there are just so many weapons for Bo Nix to throw to, right? I don't know if Courtland Sutton's going to have another 1,000 yards a year because of these other wide receivers behind him as well. they're going to be getting a good chunk of these plays and the balls thrown to them. So it's going to be tough for defenses to really try to hammer out a game plan against this team. But my final score prediction tonight, Broncos 35, Green Bay Packers 10. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great game. Broncos are going to look phenomenal in front of their home crowd on their home turf. And the Packers are going to be as useful as a melted piece of cheese. We'll say that. Okay, guys, Broncos hat. What's going on? You know what that means. It's game time. So get ready for it, guys. We're about 5 minutes away from kickoff, maybe 10, depending on how that all starts. But make sure you go get ready. Make sure you sign up at broncosandbourbon.com. $1 one time, and that's it. You get it for life. And if you got your score, if we end the game and you're like, hey, I got the score prediction right, let me know so I can go verify that and then get you a prize. Okay, guys, last comment. Let's see if Kevdan actually does the waddle. He needs to wear his white and orange Broncos chaps. Man, they're at the dry cleaners. I wasn't expecting Waddle to play, so I took him to the dry cleaners, just to be safe. Just kidding. I don't have those. Probably for the better. Okay, guys. Thank you for tuning in. You guys are fantastic. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. We will see you at halftime. And get ready for it, guys. Second preseason game of the year. We can just sit back, relax, and enjoy the fact the Broncos are on TV without our blood pressures skyrocketing to the point where we'd probably be clinically dead if they took our blood pressure at the end of a game. So just enjoy it tonight, but we'll break down the information from the first half at our halftime show. And then we will be live Monday night at 8 p.m. Mountain Time for our post-game podcast show. But let's get ready for it. Let's go Broncos. Thank you again for tuning in. As Clayton says, as he's joining. Clayton, were you on the other show? Were you watching the other guy's show? I'm just kidding. I don't care. You can watch other shows as well, but glad to see you here. And as Clayton says, smash that like and share button for me one more time. It doesn't show up here till 7 p.m. on NFL Network. Boo. It's lame. Anthony, good to see you. Let's go Broncos. Yes, let's end the show right here, as we always do, with a cheers and a very strong Go Broncos. Take care, guys. Enjoy the game. We'll see you at halftime.
Do what I like, yeah, I do what I like, yeah, I do what I like. Sip and go, sip is right, and I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, yeah, they know I'm a pro.